What's going on, everybody? Spunky Nice 91 coming at you another video. Coming at you with my weekly schedule prediction video. These past couple days, I've been pretty pissed off with the way the Eagles performed against the Titans. A very bad game, but but I've had time to relax, chill out some, and I put it behind me. I'm moving forward, focusing on the Vikings this week. You guys know how I do this. Of course, I go over the schedule for the entire week, and I save the Eagles game for last. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Starting off with the first game, which is going to be tomorrow night, October 1st, Thursday Night Football. You have the Indianapolis Colts traveling to New England to take on the New England Patriots. This game is at 8:20 p.m. The Colts, of course, head coach Frank Reich leads the Colts. You have head coach Bill Belichick, quarterback Andrew Luck for the Colts, quarterback Tom Brady for the Patriots. For the Colts, you have Grant and T.Y. Hilton at wide receiver. You have Malik Hooker at safety. For the Patriots, of course, I believe Julian Edelman, I think his suspension is over with. He served a 4-game suspension for PEDs, I believe. I believe this is going to be Julian Edelman's first game back. They also have Hogan, Josh Gordon at wide receiver, Gronk as well at tight end. They had the McCourty twins on their defense. This game's being played in New England, and the Colts, they shown they got a lot of work to do, especially before they compete with the Patriots, in my opinion. So I got the Patriots win this game, win their second straight game. The Colts, I forgot to say, the Colts, they lost the game to the Texans last week. New England Patriots just blew out their division rival, the Miami Dolphins, who were previously undefeated last week. Now, moving on to the Sunday games, starting off with the 1 p.m. games, you have the Denver Broncos traveling to MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Jets. The Broncos lost their Monday Night Football game to the Chiefs, which was a very, very fun game to watch, by the way. Can't remember for sure who the Jets play. I can't remember exactly who they played last week. I believe they lost their game last week if they did play, but I can't remember. But anyway, Vance Joseph, the head coach of the Broncos, quarterback of the Broncos, of course, is Case Keenum. They have Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas at wide receiver, Von Miller and Chubb at defensive end. For the Jets, of course, they got Sam Darnold at quarterback. Who else? Terrell Pryor at wide receiver. This game is being played in New York, but I got the Broncos going to New York and beating the Jets. The next game, you have the Green Bay Packers traveling to Detroit to take on the Detroit Lions. Green Bay Packers, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Green Bay Packers, can't remember for sure if they were victorious or not. Can't remember. The Detroit Lions, for sure, I know for sure, they lost their game to the Dallas Cowboys. Thanks a lot. Of course, Mike McCarthy's the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. You have Matt Patricia, the head coach of the Detroit Lions. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers of the Packers. You have quarterback Matthew Stafford of the Detroit Lions. You have Randall Cobb, wide receiver for the Packers. Wide receiver for the Lions, you have Golden Tate. LeGarrette Blount, running back for the Lions. This game's being played in Detroit. I got the Packers going to Detroit and beating the Lions. Next game, you have the New York Giants traveling to Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers. The New York Giants lost their game last week. I know that for a fact. They lost their game. The Carolina Panthers, I'm not 100% sure how their game turned out. Can't remember for sure. The head coach of the New York Giants is Pat Shurmur, of course. You have the head coach of the Panthers, Ron Rivera. Quarterback Eli Manning of the Giants. You got Saquon Barkley at running back for the Giants. You have Odell Beckham at wide receiver. Ingram at tight end. The Panthers, of course, Cam Newton at quarterback. You have Torrey Smith at wide receiver. Funchess at wide receiver. Greg Olsen at wide receiver. Luke Kuechly at linebacker. The Giants just have not looked that good offensively at all this year. I got the Panthers winning that game. The next game, you got the Tennessee Titans traveling to Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills. Tennessee Titans, of course, were victorious over my Philadelphia Eagles last week. Buffalo Bills, I believe they lost their game last week. Of course, the head coach of the Titans is Mike Vrabel. The head coach of the Bills, you have Sean McDermott. Quarterback of the Titans is Marcus Mariota. Quarterback of the Bills is I believe it's Josh Allen. Josh Allen. I get him and Josh Rosen. I get those two mixed up, like which one plays for which team. I think Rose is the one that plays for the Cardinals. I'm not mistaken. But anyway, yes, Titans traveling to Buffalo to take on the Bills. I'm gonna give this game to the Titans. I think the Titans are slightly the better team than the Bills. I think they are better than the Bills. So I'm gonna give it to the Titans. I still think they suck, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, moving on. Next game, the Falcons traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Falcons lost their game last week to the Bengals. The Pittsburgh Steelers lost their game to the Baltimore Ravens. The Falcons, of course, are led by head coach Dan Quinn. The Steelers are led by head coach Mike Tomlin. The quarterback of the Falcons, of course, is Matt Ryan. They have wide receiver Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu as well, wide receiver. The Steelers, of course, are led by quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. Connors is starting at running back for now. They have, of course, the best wide receiver in the game right now, in my opinion, Antonio Brown. Not even close, the best receiver in the game. This game, I had the Falcons going to Pittsburgh and beating the Steelers. Next game, you have the Baltimore Ravens traveling to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Browns. The Baltimore Ravens were victorious in their Sunday night football game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Browns lost their game to the Oakland Raiders. This is the AFC North division battle. It's the former Browns versus the current Browns. You know, obviously the Ravens used to be the Browns when they played at Cleveland. The Browns are looking a whole lot better, a much better team under their new quarterback. You know, Baker Mayfield. You know, they're looking like a lot better team under Baker Mayfield. Even though they lost their game to the Raiders, it was one heck of a game to watch. A very exciting game to watch. I believe it went to overtime, not mistaken, but it was a great game, very entertaining, very high scoring. Yeah, I mean, the Ravens head coach, of course, is John Harbaugh. The head coach of the Browns is Hugh Jackson. The Ravens are led by quarterback Joe Flacco. They have Weddle at safety. The Cleveland Browns are led by Baker Mayfield at quarterback. They have Jarvis Landry at wide receiver. I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Browns. I think the Browns can beat the Ravens, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Browns to beat the Baltimore Ravens. The next game, you got the Miami Dolphins traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Miami Dolphins got blown out by the Patriots last week in New England. The Cincinnati Bengals were victorious in their game against the Atlanta Falcons last week. The Dolphins, of course, are led by Adam Gase, their head coach. The head coach of the Bengals is Marvin Lewis. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill of the Dolphins. They have Kenny Stills at wide receiver. The Bengals, of course, have Andrew Dalton at quarterback. They have A.J. Green, another one of the best receivers in the game. A.J. Green at wide receiver. Joe Mixon at running back. This game's being played in Cincinnati, and I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Miami Dolphins. Cincinnati Bengals beat Miami Dolphins. Now, moving on to the 4 o'clock Eastern games. Skipping the Vikings-Eagles game, I say that for last, of course. The Rams and Seahawks game, 4:25. The Rams, of course, are undefeated right now. The Rams, of course, were victorious last week in the Thursday night football game against the damn, slipping my mind right now. They were victorious against the Minnesota Vikings. Yes, they were victorious against the Minnesota Vikings. The Seattle Seahawks, I believe, I'm trying to remember the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks were victorious in their game as well. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. But yes, head coach of the Rams, Sean McVay. Head coach of the Seahawks, Pete Carroll. Quarterback, Jared Goff for the Rams. They have Todd Gurley at running back. They have They have Kupp, Kupp at wide receiver. The Seahawks, of course, are led by Russell Wilson at quarterback. They have the Griffin brothers on defense at safety and linebacker, respectfully. Doug Baldwin as well at wide receiver for the Seahawks. Call me crazy, but I'm gonna pick the Seahawks to win this game. Why? Because these two teams have always played each other extremely tight. NFC West rivalry. They've always played each other extremely tight. When the Seahawks were the top dog in the league, the Rams, who were pretty bad at that time, were always giving the Seahawks trouble. Now it's kind of reversed right now. The Seahawks are kind of in a rebuilding mode. They're kind of rebuilding, and the Rams are the top dog in that division and one of the top dogs in the league right now. So the NFL is so unpredictable. You never know each week what's going to happen. And I'm gonna pick this. You might call me crazy, but I'm gonna pick the Seahawks to beat the Rams. I think it's gonna be a very tight, congested game. Two division rivals who know each other very well, and I think the Seahawks will get the if you want to call it the upset victory against the Rams. The next game, you have the Arizona Cardinals traveling to San Fran to take on the San Francisco 49ers. Cardinals lost their game. They're still winless. The 49ers lost their game as well last week. The Cardinals, of course, are led by Josh Rosen at quarterback. 49ers right now are starting C.J. Beathard. The wide receiver, wide receiver for the 49ers, of course, they got Pierre Garçon. The Cardinals, of course, have Larry Fitzgerald, one of the best to ever do it. This game's being played in San Francisco, and I got the 49ers beating the Cardinals. Now moving on to the Sunday night football game. You have the Dallas Cowboys traveling to Houston to take on the Houston Texans. This is the Battle of Texas. The two Texas teams in the NFL going at it. The Cowboys victorious against the Lions last week. Houston was victorious against the Colts last week. Of course, the head coach of the Cowboys, Jason Garrett. They had Bill O'Brien's the head coach of the Houston Texans. Quarterback Dak Prescott leads the Cowboys. They have Ezekiel Elliott at running back. The Texans, of course, have Deshaun Watson at quarterback. They have Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watt at defensive end. They have Hopkins, another one of the best receivers in the game, at wide receiver. This game, I'm going with Houston. I think Houston will beat the Cowboys. So I got the Houston Texans beat the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Moving on to the Monday Night Football game. The Washington Redskins traveling to New Orleans to take on the New Orleans Saints. 8:15 p.m. The Redskins, I believe, had a bye week last week, if I'm not mistaken. The Saints, can't remember for sure if they won their game or not. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, the head coach of the Redskins, you have Jay Gruden. The head coach of the Saints is Sean Payton. Quarterback Alex Smith leads the Redskins. Drew Brees leads the New Orleans Saints. The Redskins have Adrian Peterson at running back. The Saints, of course, have Kamara at running back. I'm going to pick the Redskins to win this game. Why? Because for whatever reason, Drew Brees has struggled against the Redskins in his career. I don't know what it is about the Redskins, but that team has always given Drew Brees trouble throughout his career. I don't even know what his win-loss record is against them, but he always seems to struggle against Washington for whatever reason. So I'm picking the Washington Redskins to travel to New Orleans and beat the Saints. Now, saving the Eagles and Vikings game for last. This game is going to be played at 4:25 p.m. The Minnesota Vikings are traveling to Philadelphia to take on my Philadelphia Eagles. The Vikings, of course, lost their game to the Rams last week. My Eagles lost their game to the Titans last week. The head coach of the Minnesota Vikings is Zimmer. The head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, is Doug Peterson. The quarterback of the Vikings, of course, is going to be Kirk Cousins, former Redskins quarterback, of course. Quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, will be Carson Wentz. This game, I'm picking the Vikings to beat us. Right now, the Eagles, it's hard to really pick them right now with the way they're looking right now. They just look terrible right now. Let's just be honest. Let's be realistic. I'm gonna take off my my homer shades for a second. Take off my homer shades. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys, man. Right now, the Eagles are not impressing me right now. They're not. Right now, I question if we can even beat the Jets right now, the way we're playing right now. So, you know, it hurts me to do this because I hate the damn Vikings so much. I hate them more than I hate the damn Cowboys right now. And I hate to pit the Vikings against us, but with Jalen Mills still starting that corner, I can see Kirk Cousins going all day towards Jalen Mills. And just Jalen Mills getting roasted all game. I don't care if it's at home or not. Right now, the Eagles secondary is struggling big time. The offensive line is struggling big time. And for whatever reason, Jim Schwartz and Doug Peterson don't seem to give a damn. They're going to continue to start Jalen Mills for whatever reason. So with that, I'm crossing my fingers that I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong on this. I hope they go out there and play their ass off and beat the Vikings, because I hate the Vikings. So I hope I'm wrong, but putting the fandom, the homer shades down, I'm gonna go ahead and say the Vikings win this game, with the hope that the Eagles show up and prove me wrong. We'll see. But yeah, there you go. I had the Vikings beating the Eagles. That's it. That's my schedule prediction for Week 5. You have any predictions? Leave them in the comment section. Tell me what you think. As always, fly, Eagle, fly. Go Birds. Peace.